Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. I've heard what you guys have had to say. You do love it when we're in this setting. So we're back again for a classic Chelsea news video. And considering we're in the middle of an international break, I say the middle, it's still technically the beginning. We've got all of next week to have to sift through, to have to sit there and just wait and ponder what's going to happen when Chelsea face Burnley at Turf Moor in the early kickoff next weekend. I hope you guys are doing well. If you didn't see yesterday's video, there was a good one that went out with Eunice, a nice little discussion, setting the tone a little bit about Chelsea potentially being in a title race this season. So check that video out if you haven't already seen it. And as well as that, there's some brand new stuff out right now. Make sure if you're going to get anything from the Chelsea Megastore this Christmas, you use the discount code GBFC10. There's going to be a QR code that will be on the screen now and a link in the description of all of my videos. 10% off, doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're doing all your Christmas shopping, the Megastore is bloody expensive, all right? So make sure you get your savings in. Without any further ado, though, let's get into today's Chelsea news. A man that we spoke about at great length and detail throughout the early stages of last summer was AC Milan goalkeeper Mike Maignan. Chelsea and Bayern Munich are reportedly preparing moves to sign AC Milan goalkeeper Mike Maignan, with the London club preparing a pre-contract agreement for the Frenchman in January, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. Now, with Mike Maignan last summer, right, this was always an interesting conversation because we heard quite a lot of conflicting rumours, stories. What do Chelsea actually think of Robert Sanchez and Philip Jorgensen? Well, forget for a second what Chelsea think about them. I'm going to give my thoughts here because this is GBFC. This is what I do. I give my thoughts and ask for yours in the comments. Philip Jorgensen, I don't think is a Chelsea-level goalkeeper. Whenever I see him come in, you could argue that it's because he doesn't get many games, that maybe he's a bit shaky, but that's what a second-choice goalkeeper's got to be, ready to come in, and you don't want to see a difference. If the first-choice keeper is out injured, you know that, or suspended in Robert Sanchez's case, you know that the second choice is second for a reason, but you don't want to see a huge drop-off. With Philip Jorgensen, I feel like we do see a massive drop-off to what we get with Robert Sanchez. Rob Sanchez this season has been very impressive, in my opinion. Apart from the obvious moment at Old Trafford where he let himself down, he let the team down, got sent off, I think Rob Sanchez has massively improved. And I think when we look at the Club World Cup and we look at how good he was there, that was peak Robert Sanchez. And we're talking about mountain peaks here, not peak in the bad sense of the word. He's been good. And I don't necessarily know if that is good and he's going to be Chelsea's number one for the long term, as in years. But Mike Maignan, having watched him against us, and I know that you should never judge a keeper, or a player for that matter, off of one game of football. But if you look at Mike Maignan against Chelsea in a pre-season friendly, it's not exactly like he was the shining star in that AC Milan team. I think he had a poor game, to be honest. And maybe it was like, I wish I was playing here every week. I think Mike Maignan would have wanted the Chelsea move last summer, but Chelsea didn't want to pay the money. Next summer is going to be an interesting one because once again, and I know this isn't what everyone wants to hear because we all want to talk about signing. I don't necessarily think we need that many signings. I think we now need to cherry pick players and bring in quality. And I think that's where the team become title challengers year on year because the core foundation is there when it comes to quality. We just need quality centre-halves and probably a quality goalkeeper, to be quite honest. So Mike Maignan on a free, I wouldn't be opposed to this. I think Penders is obviously the long-term visionary goalkeeper at Chelsea. That's another one of those where you look at an Esteval, for example, 18, he's a winger. That's when you want the player to be there in the first team already, when they're young, when they're sprightly, when they're willing to take those risks, to make those mistakes, to become better players, right? When it comes to keepers, I think Penders would do very well staying at Strasbourg for at least another year, maybe two. Mike Maignan, he's a bit more experienced. He's 29 years old coming up to, or he is 29 already? Sign him on a free if we can. And this is the thing, I don't know and I'm trying not to judge this off of the one match I saw him play in the preseason. How much better, or is he even better, Rob Sanchez, Mike Maignan? At the start of the summer, I'd have said Mike Maignan all day long. Sanchez got big credit in the bank for me now. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. But if it's free, I think Chelsea could be all over that. And as well as that, maybe Mark Guehi as well. Let's move into the next news story. Fabrizio Romano on Rodrygo. It's important to say that in the last 24 hours, we had links with Chelsea. From Brazil, they mentioned Chelsea as a possible solution for Rodrygo between the January transfer window or the summer. At the moment, what I'm getting as an answer from Chelsea sources is very clear. With maximum respect for Rodrygo, Chelsea are not in negotiations for Rodrygo. Chelsea are not in talks with Rodrygo's camp or with Real Madrid. And there is zero ongoing between Chelsea and Rodrygo. Now, this doesn't surprise me in the slightest when you look at the plethora of wingers that we have got at our disposal right now. You've even got Mykhailo Mudryk, right? He's still posing in, I say posing, he's not really posing, it's just a picture. So technically he's posing. We can argue that all you like. He's still there with his Chelsea jogging bottoms on, mate. Mudryk is still technically a Chelsea player. Jamie Gittins came in big money. He's getting better. Garnacho's had a great start to life at Chelsea, I would say. You got Neto, who is currently on the verge of having his door knocked down by Esteval Willian as a regular starter. So as much as, obviously, I love Rodrygo as a footballer, I'm not the only person. Even Jude Bellingham at Real Madrid has said he's one of the most talented players in that squad. He's a phenomenal player, can play anywhere across the front line, right wing, predominantly left wing, can also play as a false nine through the middle. I think it would be great. I think to have that versatility and to have that kind of quality and option, he's a superstar. And he's currently underappreciated, I'd say, at Real Madrid. Isn't getting the opportunities that a player of that caliber probably should be or deserves. But for Chelsea to not be linked with him right now, I actually think that it could either be a smart play for us to just rule ourselves out and be like, nah, we're not going for Rodrygo. Obviously, we've got loads of wingers at the club right now. It's too soon, in my opinion, to write off Jamie Gittins, to write any of the others off either. Neto has been contributing. We need more. Garnacho is growing week on week. Palmer's coming back soon. Tomorrow's video, we're going to talk about that and what that looks like for Chelsea, so stay tuned during the internationals. But currently, no links to Rodrygo have any weight. Let's wait and see, though, as the season goes on and Rodrygo's situation becomes clearer. We move. Chelsea failed with an offer worth €67 million for Juventus forward Kenan Yildiz in July, but they are ready to return. The Blues are likely to face competition from Real Madrid and Arsenal. Majority shareholder John Elkann plans to intervene to find a solution on a renewal with Juventus. If there is no progress, he will be sold at a minimum of €100 million next summer. This is where we also have to be a bit realistic, okay? Kenan Yildiz is a player that, I'll be honest with you, when Chelsea were linked with him last summer, I wasn't fully aware of his game. Then I saw him in the Club World Cup and I'm like, blimey, educate yourself, Benson. There's a reason the chat keep on telling you that this man is the real deal. Turns out he really is the real deal. €100 million. Again, I know that we don't like talking about it, but we've got UEFA settlements to worry about for the next 3 summers, the next 3 seasons. So, to spend €100 million on a winger, that's not where Chelsea's priorities need to be. So don't mind me while I sit here and I don't get overly excited about this, because unless we sell some real high value assets, I hate saying it, but players, right, next summer, Chelsea aren't going to be able to go and have a £300 million spent window again, unless we're selling loads of players for top prices, which when I look at the squad right now, there's not many players that I'd be like, sell. There really isn't that many. So Kenan Yildiz, if it's €100 million, we've got Giovanni Kenda coming in next year as well, or Quenda, however you pronounce it. Surely this is just not going to happen. Let's move into the next story. Great news, this one. Confidential understands Colwill's recovery is going perfectly to plan, that he suffered no setbacks and that he has now been off crutches for more than a month. And he remains on target in his rehab. Hopefully, we will get to see him before the end of the season. This is reported by Kieran Gill. And Eunice said this perfectly yesterday in the video. Imagine what Chelsea could have been like this season if we didn't have Levi Colwill injured before a ball was even kicked. Levi Colwill at the end of last season, Club World Cup, he was huge. He was growing into that world-class potential defender that we all thought he could be. So to hear that he's going to come back before the end of the season, not only could this be great for Chelsea, but again, my goal for us right now is to get some kind of continuity, stability in that back line between now and the end of the season. And that is bearing in mind that Colwill is injured, right? But if he does come back, not only will that be huge for us, whether he'll be fully fit or not remains to be seen, but also maybe he'll be back in time to go on a run to get in the England squad. I want him to be there. I think Levi Colwill should be in the England squad. If he was fit this season, he definitely would be in Tuchel's plans. But great news that the recovery is going well. Of course, with an injury of that size, that magnitude, we just got to hope that the road continues to be paved with golden slabs for Levi to walk onto it. Enzo Maresca on keeping Reece James fit. I think it's also a little bit the way we use him. We play him as a midfielder or a fullback who goes inside. It's short distance runs. But when you play fullback up and down, it's huge distances. And I guess that doing that, you can get injured more easily. Now, this is where I wanted to talk about this again today. We've spoken a lot about Maresca's treatment of Reece James. I think Maresca deserves a lot of credit for the way that Reece James hasn't been on the injury table. Touch wood again. Lovely wooden desk we got in here in Creators HQ. But I will say this, okay? The days of Reece James bombing up and down, I miss them. I think you missed them as well, right? Remember at Newcastle when he scored those 2 emphatic goals at St James's Park? Ajax, when he turned up in the box and scored that. I think that was from a corner, but Reece James getting forward and scoring goals is still something that we can see when he is stepping up into that midfield position. What I also like about it is I think Chelsea get a lot more, we could get a lot more opportunity if we're not just crossing the ball from out wide, right? If Reece is able to and he does this so well, those little clip balls that are kind of like chipped and dinked towards the far post. I think we're going to see more of this. Reece kind of in a central to wide area, crossing the ball towards the far post, little nod down from a Delap or a Pedro, and vice versa. Whoever it was nodding it down, the other geezer sticks it in. I think Chelsea have got a lot to look forward to when it comes to the variance of how we can attack, break these mid blocks, break these low blocks down. And I'm really quite excited, to be honest, about what is coming up next. And as well as that, obviously, we got to talk about the Magic Man Cole Palmer, who is also very close to returning from injury. Palmer's return to team training is fairly close. The target is for Chelsea's match against Barcelona because the player would love to play in such a historic match. However, Chelsea do not want to rush him back. So let's call this what it is then, shall we? Burnley away is going to be physical. It's going to be bloody freezing. And as much as I'm very sure Cole would want to play in that match in Burnley, I think we save him for Barca. Maybe it's one of those, and this is what I'm hoping for. Chelsea can go on an early rampage, okay? Start Esteval on the right-hand side, all right? Let Esteval tear Burnley to shreds. Let's score a couple of goals. Let's go 2-0, maybe 3-0 up. No disrespect to Burnley, but this is what I think Chelsea are capable of right now. I think we can go for it, bring Palmer on with half an hour left, just let him cruise when the game's already won. Then he's going to be ready. Start him against Barcelona. I can't wait for the next week when Chelsea are back, right? Burnley away, Turf Moor, place that we like to go to, touch wood again. Barca at home, Arsenal at home. Mate, I can't wait for this, man. This is going to be so exciting. The next few weeks, the next month or so, leading up to Christmas, I'm absolutely buzzing for this. Make sure you subscribe to GBFC. If you did enjoy today's video, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and as I said at the very start of the video, if you're still here, GBFC10 is your discount code from the Chelsea Online Megastore. QR code on the screen and a link in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow.